Salutations, all, and welcome back to another kitchen adventure. We thank you once again for stopping by. We are still in our pregame warm up, coming back for another set of reps, trying to get that belly ready. Today, we're going to keep it really easy and we keep this as short as possible for you. We're going to do a little duck. Yep, flying red meat, deliciousness, crispy. Rub the grease all over your face, lick your fingers, and share with no one. We're also going to go ahead and make a what I like to call a cheater's risotto. We've got some leftover rice. We're going to throw in some asparagus because you need the greens to help the genes. So let's just jump into it. What we're going to do with our duck breast is we are going to score the skin and the top layer of fat. And by score, I mean what we're doing is we're just going to make some very light cuts into it, not down into the whole muscle or into the flesh of the duck breast. We just want to get that first layer, that layer of skin and fat scored up. And the reason that we do this is because we're going to heat this up slowly. Think like you're cooking bacon for those that do enjoy a good crispy piece of bacon. We want to get that fat out, right? So as we cook the fat out, that skin will crisp up so deliciously for us. So you're not wanting to cut down into the flesh. You just want to get the skin and that first level of fat there. And it'll help the heat get in between and, again, crisp up really, really nicely. So keep in mind, once you've got it scored up, you're going to use a nice sharp knife or a razor, whatever you have there, just some light cuts there. And you don't want to throw this into a super hot pan. We want to kind of bring it up slow because we want to get the duck breast nice and crispy. This next part, it's going to sound crazy, but please believe me, you want to be very gentle with the breast, right? As we get to seasoning them up, you want to not throw them around and abuse them. You want to touch them gently. You want to caress your seasonings into the breast. You don't want to be rough and bruise them up unless they're really into that. So we're going to hit it up with a little bit of salt, a little pepper. I went and pulled some rosemary out from the bush out front. Very, very light on the seasoning. Little garlic, of course. You know I love my garlic. It goes in everything. It's good for you and it's delicious. And this is going to be one of those things, you're going to want to season this up to your liking, right? You're going to salt and pepper to taste on this. Salt and pepper to taste. You can always add a little more later, but you cannot take away, all right? Always remember that. So we're going to go ahead and chop this rosemary up as well. Easy peasy. All right, now that we've got that done, getting all that into the bowl, and again, we're going to just gently caress the seasonings into our delicious duck breast. Wish that you could smell what's going on right now. Outstanding. Of course, I've got my cast iron set aside. It's one of my favorite cooking items in the house. And I've got it on a low medium heat because remember, we want to really get a nice crispy breast, crispy skin on the breast. So we're going to have to go a little bit slower. You don't want a crazily high heat, right? So let's get these bad boys in the pan. And you can see I put no oil into the pan. That's going right into a dry cast iron, heated at about a low to a low medium heat, depending on what your stove setup is all about. And you'll see, just like I said, I go back to the bacon. You'll see as this cooks and it starts to get to where we want it, the amount of fat that's going to come off that duck. Now, duck fat is a delicious and clean flavored fat. Clean meaning you pretty much put it in anything. Now, right there, just seeing, I'm showing you, I've got a small onion there. We're going to get that prepped up for the risotto. I only used half that onion, so it's half a small onion there. Going to small dice that, and again, that's going to be for our risotto. All right, so there you go. There's the onions there. I also had some leftover bacon from breakfast. I mean, who wastes bacon? I mean, honestly, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and dice that up too, and we're gonna add that to our risotto as well. So you can already see in the cast iron there, the amount of fat that is starting to come off. There's that delicious bacon again. That's starting to come off. And I absolutely save that duck fat. You can cook all kinds of stuff in duck fat. It's so delicious. If you've never had French fries fried in duck fat, you're missing out. Don't cheat yourself. Life is short. So we want to check. We're checking for our GBD, our golden brown deliciousness. Just trying to see where we're at. And we are getting about there. Now I've got the oven on and set at 375. What I'm doing right there is I just wanted to pull that duck fat out because I'm going to save that for something a little bit later. We're actually going to use that when we start to make our cheating risotto there. As you can see, the outstanding color on those breasts. Nice and crispy on top. So once I've got them flipped there, I'm really not going to leave them on the stove for very long. I want to go ahead and just get them right into the oven. So let's do that. So I had forgotten what I did with the asparagus. Cut the ends off of them, and then I put them directly into the pan with the duck. So right when I put the duck in the oven, I just put the asparagus in there. So we've got the onions in. I put a little bit of that duck fat to start us off with the onions. And at this point, we're just trying to caramelize these onions. So remember, caramelize, you're going to let them sit for a bit. You're going to get that delicious color on them, that goldenness. If you want to sweat them, we'll stir them around. But it's a difference in flavor, basically. When you caramelize, the natural sugars come out, and it's just a very, very different type of onion there. So going in with the garlic, can never have too much. That's why we are vampire free in this house. And you can see around the edges there as the onions begin to do their thing. Now we're going to go on with the mushroom. These are baby portobello mushrooms. Find them at pretty much any of your grocery stores. But use what you like. And I put them around the edge because as the onions release a little bit of their juices into the pan, mushrooms being as porous as they are, they will suck that right on up. So wasn't a need to add a lot of oil or anything like that. Going in with the kosher salt. Just a little bit, just a little bit. Because remember, we're going to put that bacon in. It's going to add another level of salt to it. And we don't want to overdo it with our sodium, right? Deliciousness. For all my young ones out there, this is what adults do when we close our door and tell you to go away. This is all we're doing. We're just watching videos about food and we don't want to share it with you. You one day will do the same. All right, so onions are getting to that point where we want. Mushrooms are going to absorb all those delicious flavors and juices. So the next thing up, once we get it stirred up nicely, is we're going to go ahead and go in with our rice. All right, so we got the leftover rice from breakfast. Waste not, want not. Crumble that up. I mean, would Gordon Ramsay approve? No, no, not really. But his mom wouldn't say anything, so we do what we do. Believe it or not, probably shouldn't say this. I used to work for a very popular hotel chain, and this is how we would do the risotto. We would literally just overcook your rice a little bit, cool it down, and then when you ordered it, I would add some cream to it, and you would pay deliciously to have it. But anyway, so don't want that rice to burn or stick to the bottom. Remember, we really haven't added very much oil, just a little bit of that duck fat, and the mushrooms will have absorbed that. So you don't want to let that rice sit for too long. And we're going to go in, because the rice is already cooked, right? We're going to go ahead and go in with a little bit of our heavy cream. Just a little bit to get it started up, just to see where we're at, kind of temper it all. And as it starts to be absorbed, then we will go in with the rest. When you're making a risotto, one of the things that really makes risotto what it is, other than it not being leftover rice and a short grain rice at that, is the way that it moves, right? So a really good risotto, they say, should be wave-like, like a slow wave, like really thick oatmeal. Like you pour it, but you don't really pour it. It moves, but it sits still. It's a lot of double speak, but basically, you want it to be creamy and it should move just a little bit, like a thick porridge. But it definitely shouldn't run all over the plate, and it shouldn't be able to be scooped by an ice cream scooper. So keep that in mind. So we're going to bring this up and let the rice do its thing. As it gets heated up, of course, it'll start to absorb a lot of that cream as well. And always remember, throughout your cooking process, give everything a little taste that you can, right? Because once you want it to be perfect when it hits the table, but you won't know it if you don't taste it before it hits the table, right? So let's get our little tasting in, see where we are at. All right. I don't think I need to explain that part. I think that's very American right there. American and French. We have the French some credit for this one. All right, so I hit it with a little more pepper. No salt, just pepper. And for a risotto, you finish it off once you get it, to the liquid level that you want. You want a little extra, a little more than you think in there because you're going to hit that with some cheese. So I pulled that out. Just want to show you guys where we're at. Asparagus is cooked perfectly. Duck is done. We're letting that rest as we finish up the risotto. And then once, like I said, once we get it where we want it liquid-wise, we're going to hit it with a little cheese, and that'll tighten that right on up. So the risotto is the thickness that I want, and just to push it over the edge for all of my ER nurses out there, just to throw you one, we're going to hit it with some butter. And that's it. Risotto is done. Let's plate this bad boy up. Now remember, we've had that duck sitting out for a little bit. You want to allow your meats to rest. I think we've covered this before, but anytime we're cooking a protein, we want to let it rest. And I'm going to cut this duck at a slight bias. Now, duck is a red meat, right? It's not like chicken. You don't have to be afraid of it. It can be a little pink. It's actually better that way. Please don't cook your duck well done. You'll just be disappointed with what you have there. A nice medium goes over well. This is a little more medium well. Push that a little bit, but definitely don't go 100% on that duck, okay? It is a delicious red meat that does not have to be cooked that way. We're going to get our risottos there. Then we're going to come in with our asparagus. You should take the time to Google how long it takes to actually grow asparagus till it's ready to eat. For those that actually eat it. I just did this for you guys. I can't stand asparagus. So again, sorry for the blur there, but you get the point, right? Duck. I'm drizzling some of that duck juice, little drippings there, right on top. It's all a little gravy, and there you go. Sorry about the again the blur. Imagine the crispiness, the smell, and deliciousness. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Any kind of comments, anything that you guys want to see us do, let me know. I'm open to anything. I will continue to work on the edits for you and get you more content a lot more quickly. But I appreciate you guys stopping by and checking this out. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know how yours turns out. See you later.